What's your name?
Hi, my name's Tristan Greene. And I'm out here in Calais at the moment. I'm volunteering with Calais.
What did you study?
So my undergrad was in History and International Relations at King's College London, and after that I decided to do a law conversion. That's what I'm currently doing at a university called BPP.
Right, good. So, what are you doing in Calais?
So back in the UK, I volunteer with the Calais Legal Access team, so helping clients find solicitors and helping them manage the legal side of their cases, including obviously dealing with removals, dealing with evictions, dealing with misaged minors, all sorts of things, working with Napier Barracks. So for me, what I want to do as well is understand where these guys are coming from, to understand, obviously I see the UK side day in, day out. I want to be here, I want to be on the ground, I want to be seeing what life is actually like in Calais, just to try and help piece that picture together for me.
What kind of help do you want to do? I mean, basically, what do you think? You're nearly a lawyer or something like that. What you do? What can you do? I mean, in your course, which it was law.
Yeah. So in the UK, the Access team, we are probably around about 30 volunteers. We're all volunteer caseworkers. Some of us have legal background, some of us don't. It's not compulsory to have a legal background at all. I manage around about 200 clients now, from probably over 35 different countries. My specialism's in LGBT cases, Napier cases, removals. What's really important for those guys is English isn't their first language, and the UK legal system, when it comes to asylum, is complicated. We need to make sure that those guys have access to solicitors, access to lawyers, just so they can get the best representation possible. It's about equal representation. Everyone has that right to be represented. They're all, absolutely legally entitled to the support that they are getting from the solicitors. And that is just something, a process which I try and put into action.
Yesterday, you have been in Dunkirk and you have seen the situation of the refugees. What do you think as a humanity? What do you think? What's going on?
It is shocking. Just a couple of days ago now, we had a big eviction at Dunkirk, where the guys came along and literally a big sort of fork picked up all the tents and removed them and took some guys in buses.
And it was lots of children there as well. I mean,
there are lots of women and children.
Yeah.
Perhaps more there recently than we've seen before. But it is absolutely shocking. And what we've got to remember is that this isn't coincidence. This isn't something that's just happened by chance. This has happened because of a strategic choice by both the British government and the French government in order to make these areas as inhospitable as possible and removing all safe and legal routes by which people can claim asylum in the United Kingdom.
what do you think that the British government should make safe routes for these refugees when they are putting their life in a danger, doing channel crossing and even children, they are with them. What do you think?
100%. There needs to be safe and legal routes. I'm sure everyone will remember 24th of November last year when the boat went down in the Channel, killing sort of between 25 and 30 people. The numbers are still a little bit unsure. There were children on that boat, there were women on that boat, and even if there weren't, it's still a humongous tragedy. There's got to be safe routes. People are travelling thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and for me as a Brit, in a weird sort of way, it makes you feel proud. These guys want to come to this country. For some unfathomable reason, this country is up there on the world stage. When I'm reading their interviews, my LGBT clients, they want to come to the UK because it's got a great reputation for LGBT rights. It's got a great reputation for equality before the law, for job opportunities, all of these things. It makes you, it should be something that we are proud of. But for some reason, it is something that instead we turn around and, when refugees arrive in the UK, we sit them in a hotel for ages, just leaving them festering there. Their mental health goes, absolutely awful, even if it wasn't when they arrived. And you wait for, you could be waiting now for probably over 2 years for a decision, I'd say. By the time you get your interview, it's about a year, and maybe it might take a little bit longer to get your decision as well. It's stupid. We have got all of these people sat in hotels, sat in dispersal accommodations which are full of mould, full of litter, full of rats, mice, cockroaches, whatever. It's disgusting, and the government is doing this deliberately. That's what we've got to remember. This is a deliberate policy in order to make this country well, obviously this country where I'm now, France, but also back in the UK, as hostile and as inhospitable as possible.
You're working with Care for Calais.
Yeah.
You're working legally with them as well. You've got lots of case and you are involved.
Yeah.
Have you got network with other groups, charities,
Yes.
um, organizations? Can you let me know about your networking? I mean,
Yeah. One of the most amazing things about the case that we work on is the partnerships we're able to form with other charities. So, to pick one example, my LGBT work, I work with amazing charities, one called Micro Rainbow. They're absolutely wonderful. They've built a number of safe houses in the UK for LGBT asylum seekers to go into that accommodation and feel safe. I also work with a charity called Rainbow Migration. Again, they are there to provide legal support for LGBT cases. They're there to provide social inclusion for these guys and girls and people of any gender identity to basically feel like this is a country that wants them. And from what they come from, that is hugely important. And of course, working with the Refugee Council on Misaged Minors, working with charities called Young Roots, there's loads and loads of different organisations. But it's always really tough because you think so proudly about all the organisations you work with, and the organisation that I'm a part of, Care for Calais. But then you sit back and you think, we should not be filling this gap. It should not be the case that for a guy who has been, or indeed a girl who's been misaged as 25 and has been thrown in a mixed hotel with a load of other guys in a horrific safeguarding situation, it should not be the case that it is volunteer workforce dealing with those problems. It should not be the case that we need volunteers to find all of these people solicitors. It should be the case that that is something that in a democratic society that upholds the rule of law is being done automatically, not something that we require me working at my desk into the small hours to do. It makes me very proud that I do this work, but it does really reveal the gap that has been left there very much deliberately by the Home Office.
thanks. Do you want to add anything? Have you got any message for the people? I mean, British people, or any other people in the other countries? Have you got any message?
Maybe just first of all to say, please volunteer. Please come out here. I know that there is a huge element of volunteer privilege. I'm very much aware of that. I'm in a situation where I'm very fortunate that I can take a week off and I can come out here. I'm not, I don't have to work 4 or 5 jobs just to put the food on the table. I'm in that fortunate enough position. But if you are in that fortunate position, come out here, volunteer. Or if you don't want to come out here, do volunteering in the UK, do the work in the hotels, do the work with the legal access team. And the second thing I'll say, it's of course topical, it's about Ukraine. We will have seen that the Home Office the other day turned around and were trying to be really kind to Ukrainians. They turned around and they said, we're going to create loads of new ways in which Ukrainian citizens can be in the UK safely. And then later that same day, later yesterday, they said that they're going to introduce a law. They did a publication. It's something that we've known about for a while, saying you have to claim asylum in the first country you arrive in. Obviously, for people fleeing Ukraine, that is going to put vast amounts of pressure on countries like Romania, and the UK is going to sit back and watch that. And for me, when you have a crisis like that in Europe and a crisis like that all over the world, whether it's Syria, Iran, Iraq, even places like Libya, which is still an awful state where people will go through, they'll be tortured, they'll be put into human trafficking. When you have situations like that, there has to be a coordinated global, or at the very least European response to this. It's not something where we as British can hold our hands up and go, it's not our problem, it's everyone's problem. And most of the time around the world, it's the British who've made an absolute mess of the country about 50, 60, 70 years ago, or even longer. It's not fair for a state such as the UK to keep pushing the buck. And if you keep pushing the buck, we'll push the buck to the French, they'll push the buck to the Italians or the Greeks or the Germans. And eventually you are left with a situation where there is only going to be one country where everyone flees to. And already so many people claim asylum in the first country they enter into. It's a complete myth that Priti Patel's trying to create, which is this idea that people just keep flooding over and over and over, and they, don't claim asylum on the way. They do. You know, pretty much every other country in Europe per head is taking more than we are. It's annoying, to put it mildly. It's something I feel very, very strongly about. And when Patel turns around and tries to blame the traffickers, tries to blame, you know, French border force or whoever, sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, it's the UK's fault. And for so much of what we are dealing with out here and what we are trying to rectify out here and rectify back in the UK, it is because of strategic choices by the UK government. So yeah, please volunteer, please come out here, please donate, please join the Access team, please, you know, go and volunteer in hotels, please talk to the refugees and talk to the asylum seekers, because so many people have this view of sort of alienation of them. Talk to them. They are ordinary human beings like you or me. So yeah, thank you ever so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be out here. It is a huge privilege to talk to these guys on a day-to-day basis. I will also say a final word that all the volunteers are absolutely lovely people. You will meet the most amazing people out here, whether it's volunteers, whether it's refugees. Please do come out, please do volunteer. Thank you.